Xiao Yin sat calmly in the void, yet his body was churning violently. The undying netherworld sparrow Dou Soul on his body, initially at the most ethereal state, slowly became more solid. Grayish lines flickered across its illusory figure, and it was these lines that steadily pushed his aura to its peak. Moments later, 3 flames continuously circled around Xiao Yin. The fiery red great heavenly flame seed, the earthy fireheart heavenly rock, and the bluish ghost-faced soul flame. As for Mu Ying's flame, Xiao Yin rarely used it. This guy not only cultivates the soul clone, but also the Dou Soul. If he breaks through to 5-star Dou with a domain, wouldn't? In the shadows, the black fiend dragon wolf muttered with a dark expression. Cultivating the soul clone and Dou Soul required an immense amount of energy, but human energy is limited. One can't chew too much. However, if one could multitask and train like this, as their strength increased, their combat power would also grow exponentially. After all, both the soul clone and the Dou Soul greatly enhance one's abilities. Boom! Xiao Yan's hands continuously formed ancient hand seals, and the powerful figure of a 6-star Dou Xian level sparrow shadow was slowly absorbed into Xiao Yan's body, injected into his Dou Soul. Instantly, something seemed to stir behind him. Damn it! I can't suppress it. Xiao Yan felt something moving on his back, a tingling sensation spreading, and he couldn't help but roar. Bang! 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 Suddenly, a strange movement occurred at his shoulders, and a pair of bluish wings emerged. What is this? Xiao Yan noticed the movement and immediately opened his eyes. It is said that the undying netherworld sparrow Dou Soul is a special sacred spirit born from the energy of heaven and earth. After devouring it, there is a slight chance of obtaining a rare pair of wings called the Nether wings. Just as Xiao Yan was puzzled, the undying netherworld sparrow Dou Soul on his body trembled slightly, and a message entered Xiao Yan's mind. Nether wings? This should be similar to the Fire Guard ruler, the key to entering the netherworld. It seems I need to visit the netherworld sometime soon. Xiao Yan lightly touched the silver-white wings, which were dozens of meters large, and muttered. According to his teacher, the Master of Souls, the netherworld should be closely related to the Xiao clan. Now that he had the Nether wings and the Fire Guard ruler, he definitely had to go there. Nether wings allow flight in the netherworld, and normally, the speed granted by these wings is astonishing. After all, they are the product of the undying netherworld sparrow king, Xiao Yan said with a satisfied smile. Now, it's time for evolution. I hope it won't disappoint me. As soon as the words left his mouth, the massive wings immediately folded. It was better not to use them too often. Then, his gaze fixed on the 1,000-meter giant sparrow beside him, burning with anticipation. He had just devoured this sparrow's origin to repair his Dou Soul. Now, by devouring its body once more, the undying netherworld sparrow would truly evolve. The undying netherworld sparrow was already a peak Earth-grade Dou Soul, and if it evolved into a heavenly grade one, its power would likely be comparable to that of a domain. Huff, let's begin. After a while, Xiao Yan's 3 flames completely wrapped the enormous beast and began to burn it. Buzz, buzz. Although the origin of the undying netherworld sparrow king had been devoured by Xiao Yan, the body itself was still a 6-star Dou Xian level spirit beast, and violent fluctuations erupted from it. Since it's dead, why not surrender? A shockwave erupted from Xiao Yan's mouth, and immediately, flames covered the area, wrapping and igniting the creature with ease. Whoosh! Whoosh! With Xiao Yan's intense sacred flame, the giant creature was continuously decomposed and melted, turning into strands of gray energy that poured into the Dou fire cauldron on Xiao Yan's body. Boom! As the enormous energy poured in, the Dou Soul burst with dazzling energy. Soon, its entire body swelled violently, as if it might explode at any moment. Bang! 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 At the same time, at the top of this void, 7 colored energy waves slowly began to form, resembling the vast sky. 7 colored power. This is the only power that allows a Dou Soul's evolution. Only after enduring the baptism of this power can it truly undergo a transformation. Xiao Yan's expression became serious. Although the undying netherworld sparrow was a peak Earth-grade Dou Soul, Its combat power was somewhat insufficient for Xiao Yan, now a 4-star Dou Soul. Only after evolving into a heavenly-grade Dou Soul would it be of great assistance to Xiao Yan. Boom! With a thunderous sound, all the energy within 1,000 meters was devoured by the battle soul. At that moment, Xiao Yan's battle soul energy surged around him, and faintly, a sound resembling a dragon's roar and a tiger's growl emerged. Let's begin. With a solemn expression, Xiao Yan waved his hand. Immediately, the battle soul detached from his body, transforming into a silver, undying netherworld sparrow. Though it still retained a trace of intelligence, it was now entirely under Xiao Yan's control, so he had no worries. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The intense energy surrounding the undying netherworld sparrow clearly signaled its impending evolution. It let out a roar at the 7-colored energy in the sky, its body flickering with 4-colored flame energy as it transformed into a 1,000-meter-tall shadow. Its speed skyrocketed, and it charged toward the energy with great force. It must succeed. Watching the undying netherworld sparrow make its self-sacrificial strike, Xiao Yan clenched his fists tightly. Boom, boom, boom. Brilliant flames exploded like ripples of energy, completely spreading out. Soon, the undying netherworld sparrow and the 7-colored energy became entangled, each unwilling to back down. Clearly, the battle was fierce and unresolved for the moment. Crack! A strange figure, seemingly from nowhere, emitted a burst of scorching flames, and at the same time, a familiar scene rushed into Xiao Yan's sight. This is the mysterious little beast from the ancient tree? Xiao Yan quickly directed his gaze toward the giant pit below. The strange sound had clearly come from there. At this moment, the mysterious little beast's fur was flickering with gray flames, while in the dark pit below, a gray light, as bright as the sun, began to emerge slowly. Boom, boom, boom. After a moment, the holy flame crystals within Xiao Yan's body, the yellow and blue ones, began to tremble. A violent, unsettling fluctuation filled every one of his senses. The spirit of the sacred flame? At the appearance of this scene, Xiao Yan forgot about the battle soul's evolution and gasped. Around the giant pit, countless gray flames spread out, and in the center, a childlike girl stood. But on her forehead, a small gray diamond-shaped crystal slowly emerged, emitting a powerful wave of energy that made Xiao Yan's body tremble. Little Zhuoma is actually the spirit of undying fire. A look of disbelief appeared in Xiao Yan's heart, lingering for a long time. This guy is actually the spirit of sacred flame? Looking at the mysterious little beast and the figure of little Zhuoma, Xiao Yan couldn't help but express his astonishment. Though he had already suspected little Zhuoma's true identity, seeing it with his own eyes was still a huge shock. After all, the gray flames on her body and the crystal on her forehead radiated terrifying power. Even with Xiao Yan's current strength, he couldn't help but feel a sense of fear. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the undying netherworld sparrow's battle soul shadow was being pushed back step by the 7-colored energy. Even with the aid of Xiao Yan's sacred flame, it was still no match for the 7-colored energy. This energy was unstoppable, descending like divine punishment, forcing the battle soul to continuously retreat. At this rate, a complete collapse seemed imminent. Once the battle soul was defeated, its evolution would be nothing but a joke. Whoosh whoosh. Just as Xiao Yan was at a loss and had no countermeasure, little Zhuoma's eyes slightly opened. Her gray pupils fixed on the 7-colored energy above. A tremendous pressure, the strongest in the world, spread out. Boom, boom, boom. Moments later, little Zhuoma raised her hand and gently touched the gray crystal on her forehead. A drop of gray liquid fell, and with a casual wave, it was injected into the undying netherworld sparrow's battle soul, which had been losing ground. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The undying netherworld sparrow, whose energy had been chaotic, immediately erupted with radiant light as the gray liquid entered its body. Countless feathers flared up with energy, burning intensely as the body's energy became a blazing inferno, furiously roaring toward the 7-colored energy. It cared not that it was like a moth to a flame, heading towards certain destruction. Boom, boom, boom. With a massive explosion, the undying netherworld sparrow's body suddenly expanded, and it charged into the seven-colored energy. In the blink of an eye, the seven-colored energy shrank, and the battle soul's body transformed into countless gray light spots, clearly falling completely. But what confused Xiao Yin was that although he had absorbed the battle soul and it had completely fallen, he should have suffered some injury, yet nothing had happened. Damn it! Watching this scene, a wave of disappointment filled Xiao Yan's heart. Wait, something's wrong? Just as Xiao Yin was struck with shock, countless gray specks of light within the void suddenly began to converge toward a specific point. In just a few breaths, the body of the undying netherworld sparrow reformed once again. However, this time, its body and strength were even more solid and formidable than before. Even the faint gray markings that appeared on its form after devouring the undying netherworld sparrow king had grown more distinct. The markings, gray in hue, vaguely outlined the shape of a ferocious and exotic beast. Upon closer inspection, it astonishingly resembled an enlarged version of the small beast that always accompanied little Zhuoma. So this is the true essence of the undying fire. In that moment, Xiao Yin understood. He no longer worried about the undying netherworld sparrow. He realized that now that the battle soul had acquired a trace of the undying fire's essence, it could only evolve into a true heavenly-grade battle soul through repeated cycles of death, transformation, and adaptation to this new power. It was only a matter of time. For now, his immediate priority was the sacred flame of the undying fire. Junior Xiao Yin, master of 3 sacred flames, has come to the undying sacred tome this time to humbly request the undying fire from you, senior. Xiao Yin cupped his fists respectfully as he addressed little Zhuoma, his tone filled with humility. If his earlier conjecture was correct, then the seemingly delicate little Zhuoma could not be judged by conventional standards. Hidden within this petite frame might very well be a soul that had existed for thousands, or even tens of thousands of years. Thus, he spoke with utmost reverence. Fireheart heavenly rock, ghost-faced soul flame, ethereal ice flame. Little one, you truly hide your abilities well. As Xiao Yin finished speaking, little Zhuoma's lips curved into an eerie smile, her figure flickering. When she reappeared, she was already by Xiao Yan's side, her laughter resonating around him. However, the power emanating from her was utterly terrifying. Senior. Under this immense pressure, Xiao Yan's anxiety increased. Yet he maintained his respectful demeanor. The sound of little Zhuoma's laughter was as ethereal as heavenly music, but the immense power it carried caused his body to tremble involuntarily. I must thank you for your help while I was suffering from amnesia. Without you too, if I had fallen into the hands of those people, I would likely have been sealed and suppressed. Little Zhuoma's voice was low as she continued, as the spirit of the sacred flame. If something were to happen to me, the sacred flame itself would not escape calamity. Senior, what exactly happened? Xiao Yin, unable to contain his curiosity, asked urgently. Previously, due to the influence of the sacred flame and the threat posed by the master of ferocious souls, my powers were drained, and my memories suppressed, little Zhuoma explained softly. The master of ferocious souls? Xiao Yin asked, puzzled. Before this, the undying fire had fallen into the hands of the master of ferocious souls. To reclaim it, I brought the undying sacred tome space to the ferocious soul domain. Not long ago, the master of ferocious souls unexpectedly returned the undying fire. However, there seemed to be traces of other sacred flames on him. I suspect his return of the undying fire was part of a larger scheme, little Zhuoma said. Since then, I had planned to stabilize the undying fire before leaving this place. But at that time, I encountered a joint assault from Xintian Palace, the Demon Guard, and the Soul Hall. To protect the sacred flame, I had no choice but to separate my power from the sacred flame, leading to the amnesia you witnessed. I see. Xiao Yin nodded as understanding dawned. Senior. After a moment of silence, Xiao Yan's lips dried as he hesitated to broach the subject of the undying fire. I know your intentions for this visit, little Zhuoma said, smiling. The fact that you can simultaneously harness 3 sacred flames demonstrates your extraordinary strength. However, I've already repaid the favor I owed you by helping the undying netherworld sparrow evolve. As for the undying fire's value..." Seeing Xiao Yan's determined expression, little Zhuoma let out a gentle laugh. However, deep down, she wrestled with her decision. Xiao Yan, bearing 3 sacred flames, indeed possessed the potential to ascend to the ranks of the strongest in the Great Thousand Worlds. As a sacred flame spirit, she could sense the growing fractures in the world. It was only a matter of time before the Second Great World War erupted. "Fine. Since you cared for me during my amnesia and even slew the undying netherworld Sparrow King, I'll let you try with the undying fire. However, don't disappoint me." Little Zhuoma smiled faintly, her tone carrying a trace of enigmatic teasing. "My deepest thanks, spirit of the sacred flame," Xiao Yan exclaimed, his voice trembling with emotion. Xiao Yan's soul power told him that the strength of the sacred flame spirit before him was unfathomable and beyond his ability to handle. Even if this being protected the sacred flame, Xiao Yan's chances of victory were slim, but fortunately, this entity didn't do so. "Although you bear multiple sacred flames, the burden of your mission is also quite heavy," Xiao Zhuoma said meaningfully after a while. As the master of the sacred flame, the junior naturally understands. Xiao Yan smiled slightly, clearly excited as the undying fire was so close. "All right, enough talk. But do you know what the undying fire sacred flame truly is?" Xiao Zhuoma smiled lightly as she observed Xiao Yan's reaction. Behind her, a small beast lay quietly, seemingly fierce and mysterious in origin. The undying fire is known as immortal and indestructible, ranking 17th on the sacred flame ranking of the Great Thousand Worlds. Xiao Yan responded faintly. Clearly, even Xiao Yan's understanding of the undying fire was limited to this knowledge, but that did not stop the terrifying power of the sacred flame. The undying fire sacred tome is the resting place of the undying fire. Sacred flames ranked in the top 20 on the sacred flame ranking can turn 100 miles of space into dust upon birth, so they require special spaces to contain their destructive power. As the sacred flame spirit, I was chosen by the undying fire, a human tasked with guarding it across generations. In return, it granted me an immortal, indestructible power. The undying sacred tome is filled with treasures. Every time it opens, it attracts a host of plunderers. Moreover, at the core of the sacred tome is the undying netherworld Sparrow King, which entered by chance and now covets the undying fire. The 5 Fingers mountain formation and towering ancient trees around the sacred flame are set up by me to protect it. The undying fire is the fire of heaven and earth, and only by mastering it can one achieve immortality and invulnerability, Xiao Zhuoma patiently explained. "Undying? Invulnerable?" Xiao Yan asked, his voice filled with awe. The words seemed to carry immense power, far beyond Xiao Yan's understanding. Immortality and invulnerability are the true essence of the undying fire, but despite guarding it for thousands of years, I have not fully comprehended it. "I hope you can crack it," Xiao Zhuoma shook her head. "Understood." Xiao Yan nodded solemnly. "Come forth," she said. The moment she spoke, a faint glow emanated from her palm, and below, in the vast dark pit, a massive gray egg with crystal-clear antimony veins slowly emerged. Thump, thump. As the gray egg appeared before Xiao Yan, his burning mantra and sacred flame heart both began to beat violently. With every beat, a force filled with unease surged from the egg before him. "This holds the undying fire," Xiao Zhuoma said, her eyes filled with complex emotions as she gazed at the gray egg. The egg was oval in shape, with mysterious dragon-shaped and phoenix tail-like patterns etched on its surface, making it appear like an ancient creature. Yet, it was these fluctuations that caused Xiao Yan's heart to tremble. Inside this egg was the undying fire, the very undying fire from the legends, said to be immortal and indestructible. "Inside this is the undying fire," Xiao Zhuoma said once more, noticing Xiao Yan's eager gaze. "Undying fire," Xiao Yan muttered, his mouth drying out. Then, from his palm, both yellow and green sacred flame crystals appeared simultaneously. Finding the sacred flame was a significant event, and after finding it, One had to gain the sacred flame's approval and obtain the sacred flame crystals before they could attempt to devour it. These 3 steps were all crucial, and just finding the sacred flame could take a powerful expert hundreds of years. Not to mention, one had to gain the sacred flame's approval to qualify for devouring it. Moreover, the unimaginable torment one had to endure while devouring the sacred flame. How many humans could bear it? It was these hardships that cemented the supreme position of the sacred flame. You already possess 3 sacred flames. There's no need for me to say more, right? Zhuoma said, seeing Xiao Yan's actions but not stopping him. The undying fire. Has it been damaged? After a moment, Xiao Yan stepped closer to the gray egg and asked suddenly, I don't know. I've guarded it for thousands of years, but when the master of ferocious souls returned it to me, I sensed something was wrong. However, upon inspection, the essence of the sacred flame seemed undamaged, so I sealed it here temporarily to protect it, Zhuoma said in confusion. Could the master of ferocious souls have tampered with it? Perhaps it's a fake sacred flame? Xiao Yan furrowed his brow. Impossible. Sacred flames are wonders of heaven and earth. Only the top-ranked artifacts of the great thousand worlds, or those who have reached the highest realms, can affect them. I think the undying fire must have been startled or fallen into a deep sleep. Little Zhuoma's delicate face trembled slightly as she shook her head. Hee, no matter what, it seems we're really destined to meet, Xiao Yan said with a smile to the gray giant egg before him after asking but receiving no answer. Let's begin. The undying fire is different from other sacred flames. Once it recognizes you, the sacred flame crystal will fall from my forehead, and at that time, you will have the qualification to devour it. As for whether it will succeed, that depends on your own fate. Little Zhuoma smiled as she pointed to the sacred flame crystal on her forehead. As for the battle soul, I hope you can take care of it, senior. Xiao Yan will be forever grateful, Xiao Yan said with a serious expression. Go ahead. As soon as the words left her lips, little Zhuoma flicked her fingers, and Xiao Yan's figure instantly vanished into the gray giant egg. Little guy, do you think it will succeed? Looking at the battle soul in the sky that was constantly being destroyed and reborn, little Zhuoma gently caressed her delicate hand, smiling. Step. Suddenly, a green figure from below in the void crushed some branches, producing faint sounds. Bad. The black fiend dragon wolf had just tried to follow Xiao Yan into the gray giant egg but was repelled, unable to enter. Just as it was about to get closer and investigate, it accidentally made a sound. Boom, boom, boom. Little Zhuoma's gentle eyes turned fierce, and a massive gray fire chain, 100 feet long, roared toward it. Sigh. The black fiend dragon wolf shook its head helplessly. Then its body transformed into a green light and disappeared from the scene. A clone. Huh? You ran fast, but this power doesn't seem to belong to humans or the ghost realm. A monster realm powerhouse? With the disappearance of the figure, little Zhuoma couldn't help but mutter in confusion. At this moment, Xiao Yan had finally crossed all obstacles and reached the final step of the undying fire. Xiao Yan, naturally, was unaware of what was happening outside. At this moment, he had passed through the undying sacred tome and entered the interior of the gray giant egg, the very place where the undying fire resided. Vroom, vroom. As soon as Xiao Yan entered, a series of gray halos emerged, filling his vision and limiting his senses. However, his body involuntarily became alert. This gray giant egg is actually a small space. Surrounded by the gray halos, Xiao Yan struggled to open his eyes. After a moment of sensing, he muttered. After a few breaths, when the halos faded, the full view of the place was revealed to Xiao Yan. It was a round space of about several hundred meters in size. Other than a mysterious and unfathomable creature in the center, there was nothing else inside. Is that the undying fire? As his gaze fell on the inconspicuous light cluster in the center, Xiao Yan's eyes tightened, and even his soul involuntarily trembled. It was a light cluster about the size of a palm, with faint gray patterns spreading across it. These gray patterns were like divine symbols carefully laid down by the highest beings, containing mysterious and eerie power. The gray flames beneath the patterns were extremely dim, as if they could extinguish at any moment. This is the undying fire, but why is its flame so dim? What's going on? With Xiao Yan's perception of sacred flames and the many factors of the flame mantra within him, he immediately confirmed that the gray flame before him was indeed the undying fire. But the power of this flame seemed weaker than even a heavenly seed. What was happening? Whoosh whoosh. The gray light cluster seemed to sense someone entering the void here, and a ripple of gray energy slowly spread out. What is this? Seeing the undying fire in such a state, Xiao Yan shook his head. Clearly, the fluctuations released by the undying fire were too weak, even weaker than his own heavenly scarlet flame. Come out. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yan had no other choice for the moment but to hold both sacred flame crystals in his hands. Boom, boom. It seemed as though the sacred flame crystals in Xiao Yan's hands provoked the undying fire, or perhaps it wanted to devour the two sacred flame crystals. Instantly, the gray flame transformed from its weak state into a fierce, surging form. Endless gray flames turned the space into a molten world, with the undying fire itself turning into a pool of lava, cold yet menacing, glaring fiercely. Hee. I didn't expect you to be this clever, pretending to be weak to make others let their guard down, thereby luring humans to devour you, only to explode with all your strength at that moment and easily devour others, Xiao Yan said with a smile, watching the undying fire's actions. Thankfully, he had held back earlier and did not try to devour it when the undying fire feigned weakness. Boom. The flames surrounding the undying fire erupted into dazzling brilliance, with waves of gray light roaring out like apocalyptic torches. The gray molten lava suspended in space contained a terrifying, suffocating energy. Bang, bang, bang. As if Xiao Yan had seen through its trick, the undying fire's gray magma origin unleashed an incredibly violent and fierce aura. Countless gray molten rivers appeared around it, and without hesitation, they shot directly towards Xiao Yan. Fireheart Heavenly Rock, Sky-breaking Rock Burial. With a cold grunt, the yellow sacred flame crystal on Xiao Yan's palm burst with dazzling light. Numerous yellow flames gathered before him, blocking the invasion of the gray molten lava. Not enough. Xiao Yan saw that although the sky-breaking rock burial had blocked the undying fire's attack, it was extremely slow. Yet, he knew that even the sacred flame ranked 35th would not be able to withstand the undying fire, ranked 17th. Moments later, the ghost-faced soul flame's cyan sacred flame crystal also exploded with bursts of cyan liquid, which quickly flowed onto the surface of the sky-breaking rock burial. In an instant, a terrifying fireball, like a celestial dome, enveloped Xiao Yan completely. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Seeing this, the undying fire's gray magma exploded with an overwhelming aura, pressing down on Xiao Yan. This space was the resting place of the undying fire. Here, its power was amplified endlessly, while Xiao Yan's two sacred flames were relatively weak. With his own strength also comparatively lower, he found himself at a disadvantage. Swish, swish. Sweat appeared on Xiao Yan's forehead as the prolonged use of the sacred flame origin became a significant burden. After all, although the flame mantra's current level was high, using the origin power of two sacred flames at once was a jaw-dropping drain. Thud. Just as Xiao Yan was about to be overwhelmed and defeated by the undying fire's attacks, a red ancient ring, hidden within his body, gently fell from Xiao Yan's form. Clank, clank. At the same time, the moment the ring appeared, the entire void became eerily silent. Not good. Xiao Yan's face changed drastically. He quickly split a portion of his soul force, trying to reach for the ring. Xiao Yan didn't understand why the ring fell uncontrollably at this moment, but he knew that this ring was the Imperial Flame Ring given to him by Tuasha Ancient Emperor when he first arrived in this foreign world. The power and mystery contained within the ring were unfathomable, even for Xiao Yan. But he firmly believed it was the key to finding Tuasha Ancient Emperor in the future, which made him so anxious now. Even if the Imperial Flame Ring was indestructible and mysterious, under the burning power of the undying fire, ranked 17th on the sacred flame list, it would likely turn to ashes. Bang, bang, bang. The undying fire's gray magma surged forward, its fist-sized molten liquid directly enveloping the Imperial flame ring, clearly attempting to devour it. Bastard! Xiao cursed in desperation. If anything happened to this ring, it would undoubtedly make it even harder for him to find Tuasha Ancient Emperor in the future. From Xiao guesses, considering the close relationship between the Golden Dragon King and Tuasha Ancient Emperor might be one of the true peak powers in the Great Thousand Worlds. Losing such an ally would be a significant blow to him. Buzz, buzz, buzz. But something unexpected happened. As soon as the undying fire's gray magma origin surrounded the Imperial flame ring, its usually overwhelming power rapidly diminished. That energy was now being funneled into the Imperial flame ring at a shocking speed. After a few breaths, Xiao felt immense pressure lighten. The threat of the undying fire slowly faded. But looking at the Imperial flame ring in the void, which had started to turn weak and even slightly red, he couldn't help but wonder, what is this thing's origin? With this scene unfolding, Xiao gradually calmed down. However, due to the Imperial flame ring, the undying fire's test of Xiao was easily passed. Next up was the real devouring. What Xiao didn't notice, however, was that when the Imperial flame ring turned completely red, a vast and overwhelming aura filled the air. From this aura, even Xiao 3 sacred flames in his body emitted a faint, humble respect. This fluctuation felt like a supreme ruler, like the firmament itself, intimidating, causing one to step back in awe. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The usually overwhelming undying fire was rapidly suppressed under the Imperial flame ring's mysterious power. In an instant, the molten lava flames surrounding the undying fire weakened, and its magma origin also turned faint. Good fellow, thank you. Not long later, the Imperial flame ring gently returned to Xiao hand. Xiao smiled in relief, though he noticed that the ring's luster had grown even brighter, and there seemed to be a mysterious force swirling around it. Undying fire. After a few breaths, as he looked at the weak gray magma before him, Xiao mouth began to feel hot. This small patch of gray magma, no bigger than the size of a palm, was not the original power of the undying fire. Its true essence existed within. We really are fated. Looking at the undying fire magma quietly standing still without any movement, Xiao slowly smiled. Whirr! Without any hesitation, Xiao figure instantly appeared beside the gray magma. His palms were immediately enveloped by 2 dazzling flames, his expression unusually serious. Clearly, he was planning to extend his hand into it. Gurgle, whatever, at this point. I can only seize its essence and the sacred flame crystal while the undying fire is still in a weakened state. Otherwise, if I stay here too long and exhaust my power, the consequences would be unimaginable, Xiao murmured, his throat dry as he spoke. Earlier, the attack from the undying fire had been blocked and even absorbed by the Imperial flame ring, which undoubtedly meant that the undying fire had already recognized Xiao. However, the next step was crucial. He needed to enter the undying fire's essence, make it fully recognize him, and then obtain the sacred flame crystal before he could proceed with the final step of devouring. Boom! Without further hesitation, Xiao gently extended his palm into the gray magma flame, attempting to capture the tiny fire spark within, as it was the true essence of the undying fire. Raging! In the blink of an eye, as Xiao palm neared the gray magma of the undying fire, a powerful repelling force immediately pushed him back. Looks like it won't work. Xiao was momentarily flustered by the gray flames. Sweat the size of beans kept appearing on his forehead. This seemingly weak fire was putting enormous pressure on him. Forget it. I'll use those items. After some thought, Xiao gave up on forcefully extracting the essence of the undying fire. After all, with such a powerful flame, any loss would be unbearable for him. Undying leaf, he softly called out, and the ice spirit cold leaf and the undying leaf, which he had previously stored, slowly emerged. A rather large square ice cage, about several dozen feet in size, appeared before Xiao. Inside, a beautifully crafted leaf was being corroded and protected by countless cold forces, causing the dark red flames of the undying leaf to burn fiercely. Whoosh! As the ice cage appeared, the temperature of the gray, undying fire in the void suddenly dropped. Even wisps of white mist began to spill from the ice cage, heading towards the undying fire magma. The undying leaf truly is the nemesis of the undying fire, Xiao said with great joy upon seeing this. The undying fire was such a formidable flame that even with his 3 sacred flames combined with the power of the great heavenly seed, he still couldn't overcome it. However, this seemingly inconspicuous undying leaf was able to greatly suppress its power, which delighted Xiao. Whoosh whoosh. Seeing the undying leaf in its current form, Xiao waved his hand, and a refined item slowly appeared. First, the elixir specifically refined to devour the undying fire, the ice mystic pill, and the cold liquid collected from the undying fire, the undying leaf. The ice mystic pill was a 5th grade, earth-level pill of celestial rank, and Xiao had already successfully refined it. As for the undying leaf, it was also fully prepared. Inside the square cage, a leaf-shaped flame of dark red fire flickered like an agile spirit. Every time it moved, it would melt the countless icy strands inside the cage. Yet the cage didn't seem like an ordinary object. Every time the icy strands disappeared, new strands would regenerate. This repeated process allowed the power of the undying leaf to be perfectly preserved. Taking out the 2 essential materials for devouring the undying fire, Xiao did not act recklessly. He knew that if an ordinary person wanted to devour the sacred flame, they would have to extract its essence and swallow it directly. The success rate was only about 1%. With these materials, his success rate would only be 1 in 10. After all, extracting the essence of the sacred flame was no easy task. Let's begin. After carefully calming himself for a quarter of an hour, Xiao slowly opened his eyes and said solemnly, "Undying leaf." With a cold grunt, Xiao palms, enveloped in 2 sacred flames, transformed into yellow-green fiery hands. He gently extended them into the ice cage towards the dark red undying leaf. Boom, boom, boom. The undying leaf seemed to have some intelligence, and upon sensing Xiao actions, it started to wildly thrash around. Rings of dark red flames spread out from around the leaf like waves. I don't believe 2 sacred flames can't handle a small undying leaf. Plop. With a sound, the dark red undying leaf was unable to escape Xiao grasp and was tightly held in his pale yellow palm. SSSS. The moment he grasped the undying leaf, a chilling cold swept through, causing Xiao soul to shudder involuntarily. At the same time, a ring of dark red chains, like a protective shield, enveloped Xiao numerous meridians and skin, shielding them from the cold. Undying leaf, combining ice and fire, truly lives up to its name. Carefully pulling the undying leaf out from the ice cage, Xiao arm was immediately surrounded by swirling ice mist, and the temperature of the entire space dropped sharply. Swish, swish. The weakened undying fire lava trembled, as if the undying leaf had a strong restraining effect on it. Go! Xiao smiled faintly at the sight, and then tightened his grip on the undying leaf. Using its mysterious ice and fire power, he directly invaded the undying fire lava. Roar! Roar! This time, not only did Xiao 2 sacred flames protect him, but the undying leaf's protection also enhanced his defenses, drastically reducing the resistance of the undying fire lava. Ah! Even so, Xiao still let out a howl of pain. After all, to extract the essence of the undying fire, he had to enter it directly. The gray magma flames that protected the essence were powerful enough to rival the combined force of Xiao 3 sacred flames. Despite all his protections, the inhuman pain still forced him to roar in agony. After entering the ghost realm for so long, after walking all this way, I finally found the undying fire, and now you want me, Xiao, to return empty-handed. Dream on. A beast-like growl erupted from Xiao mouth. He then disregarded the obstruction of the gray magma and shot his palm directly towards the light in its center. His expression was ferocious, his pupils filled with endless bloodshot veins, and even the layers of ice chains from the undying leaf on his body began to rapidly melt as he entered the gray magma. The destructive power of the gray flames far exceeded Xiao Yan's expectations.